conflicts of interest.
Typical corporate bullshit.
With your hosts, Nate, Robbie, Chris, Nika, and Callie. FinalEncounterCast.com.
Ready? Get set? Go!
Hey, what's up? Welcome to Final Encountercast. Thanks for joining us today here at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. FinalEncounterCast.com is the website. You can find a full archive of our show, and we hope that you do. Subscribe to it on iTunes.
Our channel wasn't shut down.
Our channel was not shut
We're
down.
still here.
I know. God damn.
Was it going to be shut down?
So now we can take our pants off this week.
The Zoe Burger tribute that we did.
That's right.
We never even got an email. We never got any kind of discipline for that at all.
Should we crank it up a notch?
Yeah.
No, we should not crank anything up. We should just strike all of that from our mind's eye.
You weren't here for that.
Yeah.
Just hearing about it, okay, was damaging enough.
Anyway, thanks for joining us here at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast, FinalEncounterCast.com. Being that it is the post-holiday season in video gaming, dude, not much going on.
Has it been a little slow?
It's been a little quiet.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that too?
Yeah.
I definitely have.
It's been a little boring.
Yeah.
Websites,
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It's fun when you can go on to like a site like PC Gamer or something like that and just notice like how thin they are for news as compared to where they would normally be. Like, yeah.
I mean, I get
slow.
it. Look, I get it. Everyone takes time off for the holidays, except for us.
Apparently.
We don't.
Well, I mean,
we did for Christmas.
Nosferatu did.
Yeah. I did.
Of course I did.
I forgot that name.
I have friends and family that I wanted to visit. Sorry, you guys don't.
Oh no, we did. We did. It's just our commitment to the project kind of made us go, hey, it was nice seeing you for like the 10 minutes, and now we have to go do other things.
Hold on. When you say your friends and family, do you mean the one guy that you're always tagging in cat articles on Facebook?
Yeah, that's Jay.
It's the only other human interaction that I ever see you doing.
Anyway.
Do you want me to tag you in the cat videos too?
No, I see them anyway.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll start tagging you.
I think Callie wants to be tagged in them though.
Callie, you want to be in the cat videos too?
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I love cats.
Okay. All right.
I'm
Might
excited.
as well throw Nate in there for good measure.
No, please don't.
No.
I don't
like Nate.
I have my own living cat video that happens every day in my apartment. I don't need more of them.
Yeah, your cat's dumb though.
He is.
And an
you would
asshole.
you would be amazed at how many dumb things he does on a regular basis.
Okay, but
It's
your
fun to
cat
watch.
doesn't like dig igloos with the snow.
You don't know
was
that.
great.
You don't know that.
Well, has he?
Maybe he has.
Not today.
No, not particularly today. Anyway, I don't know where that was going. Thanks for joining us here at Final Encountercast. We've got an exciting show for you because today we finally get to unveil and talk about our new project that we've been working on for almost 6 months.
Oh my God.
That is an extension of this show. This show is really sort of like it's like the raw wood of what Checkpoint Radio has become, and we've just been whittling away slowly to be able to get the more refined show that is Checkpoint Radio, and you guys will get to hear 45 minutes of that show today. So we're super excited to be able to talk about that. We're super excited to be able to share that with you, and we're excited to hear your feedback. Now, if you listen to the show a lot, like if you tune in all the time, then I can tell you right now, there's going to be content that you definitely recognize, because we, when we talk to Austin Creed, aka Xavier Woods from the WWE, that we repurposed for this new show.
Yep.
And it was a great interview. And of course, like when you have good content, you want to showcase your best stuff. And so I know some of you are going to hear stuff content and conversations that we've had here on Final Encountercast, but done not like over again. I mean, they are, but we've done it a different, with a different context in mind. And I think that's super exciting. And like a lot of the points and a lot of the raw ideas that we just sort of like spitball between us on this show ends up kind of becoming fodder and content and conversations that we can rely on for Checkpoint, which I think is really, really cool and really fun.
Yeah, this show is kind of like a proving ground. If a conversation does well here, you'll probably hear it on Checkpoint at some point.
And one of the interesting things about Checkpoint too was we found ourselves that when we talked about stuff that we'd already talked about FEC, somehow new viewpoints or even opinions and explanations of those same things started to emerge.
Oh yeah, not a single time did we have a conversation go exactly the same way.
Yeah.
It always takes a different path.
Totally. And the nice part about what we do here on Final Encounter is that this is like the gloves off version, This is where we can, talk about the messy, the really, really messy parts and like the complicated things, and we can say fuck and piss and shit and cock and cunt and whatever. Like we can do all those things here that we can't do because it's an intrinsically radio product. And being that it's also an intrinsically radio product, like you want to have a little bit more focus. You want to have a little bit more of like a clear objective kind of going into that. And again, a lot of these conversations that we're able to on this show dedicate an hour or 45 minutes to, we have to condense down into sometimes 12 minutes, sometimes even shorter than that.
Let's TLDR it. We got rid of Chris.
Well, we did do that.
That is true.
We added
So you guys are trying to make something that's better?
No, we did make something that's better.
Yeah,
we needed people that could actually add to the conversation, not consistently derail it.
Oh, you think I'm consistent? Thanks, Nate.
This is what we mean when we say he hears what he wants to hear.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
I love you too, Daddy.
So we are excited to be able to share that with you today. We'd love to hear your feedback on it. This demo will be going live this week on our website, which, by the way, if you want to see the website, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna share it. It's technically unpublished, right? Like we actually used Squarespace to be able to design this.
Yeah, looks great.
Which I've got to say, this was my first time ever working with Squarespace, and I'm totally impressed with how quickly this all came together.
Come on, WordPress, get it together.
Right. So there you go. I've shared it in the chat. Now you'll notice that there's going to be, like, when you load it into your browser, it's going to ask for like a code or it's going to generate one on screen. So if it asks you to log in, you can't. Yeah, you can't because but you should get a temporary passcode that'll let you view the design.
You're a visitor, so log in accordingly as a visitor.
Right. Exactly. So I only did it once just to make sure that was the URL that I had to share out. So I don't exactly remember the process. I do remember, though, that there is a visitor login. So you guys check that out while we go through the news. And then after the news, we'll talk a little bit more about Checkpoint. So let's check out what's going on in the news.
I'm here to do the news tonight.
And that's the way the news goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt this program to bring you important news.
Here's a story that's out of this world.
Alrighty, Ariana Grande is going to be appearing in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, or at least a character modeled off her will be. The mobile app, which has now surpassed 9 million downloads worldwide, not including Japan, is available on iOS and Android. She looks a bunny girl.
Why?
That's a good question.
Why?
She's a fan of Final Fantasy, I think, right? That
I don't know.
Really?
So am I. Where's my character?
Yeah. I don't. Is she?
I think so. I think that's what I read. But then I feel like if you were a real fan, like, all right, well, let's put you in this.
Oh, here we go.
App.
Robbie pulling the whole real fan.
Tell us what a real fan.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying.
obviously girls can't be real fans because they have vaginas and lady parts.
Is that what he was going for?
I think that is what he was going for. I think that's
he is
what.
a sexist and a racist.
Ooh.
Changed my mind. I don't want Chris on the show anymore.
Yeah, he really campaigned for you to be on the show today,
I did! And this is what you do to me! Sick of being treated like this. I'm going on another 4-month hiatus.
I brought you pizza.
That I paid for and gave you one of!
Because you ate my other pizza.
I ate one, and that probably wasn't even your slice, because it had green stuff on it.
Please look forward. Radio says, can't Ariana Grande go choke on a donut and go away? I mostly agree with that, except I'm pretty sure she doesn't eat.
It has been a while.
I don't think she has she doesn't have the opportunity to choke on anything, except maybe dicks.
Fair enough. Here's one for you, Nate. While searching for B-roll to use in a news article about Russian hacking during the election, CNN apparently borrowed from a Flash game based off of Fallout 3. This is hardly the first time a news agency has turned to video games for B-roll during a news article, as many will recall the BBC borrowing the UNSC logo from the Halo franchise when reporting on the United Nations a few years back.
Okay.
This is great.
Why is this even a fucking news story?
I don't know, but it's
why
funny as
is
hell.
this? Someone explain to me why this is even like, okay, so what that means, all that means, I'm just going to explain this because I've been working in media for fucking, 15 years. All this means is that someone either looked on Google Images or Getty Images or wherever, and that was like the first thing that they were like, oh, that kind of looks like hacking, whatever, use it. Or whoever's designing the graphics at CNN is a fucking Fallout fan and is like, I'm going to slide some, because it just, no one will notice. I'm just going to slide it in there. And then it becomes this huge fucking thing. And it's like, dude, all I was doing was just fucking around.
Yeah.
And like, dude, the internet lost its fucking mind. Like,
yeah.
Dude, I saw like, this is proof that CNN is complicit in spreading misinformation. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about?
That's not real hacking.
This is what happens when people don't know what B-roll is, because there are some people who have no idea. Like when you watch an infomercial or any commercial ever, they didn't shoot that footage.
Exactly.
They didn't actually go out with a camera and film it.
Right.
They bought B-roll
Right.
that looked like what they needed and spliced it together.
Right.
That's all that is, and that's exactly what the CNN article is.
Chances are it was even lazier than that. Chances are all they did was take an image and then do a close-up of the image and pan across it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm gonna say I didn't even bother to watch the news story because I'm like, this isn't even fucking worth talking about. But apparently the internet is dumb and they disagree with me, and they were like, no, we're gonna spend 4 days talking about it, and Alex Jones is gonna tell us why this is the reason that our society is run by lizard people, I guess.
They've got that B-roll.
But that's really all they did. They probably just found a JPEG of it and just did the close-up and just panned across
absolutely.
it. What? And why even get upset? Why bother getting upset?
We did an awesome, when I was at Specs Howard, we did an awesome project where we all got the exact same B-roll clips and had to each do a different genre of trailer based off those B-roll clips.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, it was great.
That's a good exercise.
Oh yeah, horror and then like a drama right after it with the same B-roll footage.
Well, it's sort of like those people that take like Mary Poppins and recontextualize it as like a horror trailer, which is really funny because it just really shows you all you need to do is put in a couple of music cues or just common things that we all rely on to sort of give us that like little extra push into like making that emotional connection. Yeah, it's
Deadpool as a romantic comedy. Best.
Yes, there's a lot of them. Or like Bad Lip Reading did. They took clips from Game of Thrones and made it up like it was like a Renaissance festival comedy. It was really clever. It was
That's
really
amazing.
Really fun. It was scary how well it worked. The BLR guys are like just on a whole nother level.
And that, it just goes to show you the importance of audio.
Yeah,
like
absolutely. Audio, just something as simple as audio can recontextualize an entire scene.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good audio circle jerk for radio people. Good job. Okay, that's the big point we're trying to make is audio matters. Audio lives matter.
I think Callie's just excited because he's never been described as a radio person before.
Well, I was actually just really including Nate.
Well, that's not much of a circle jerk, then, is it?
No,
that's just Nate jerking off.
That's just me masturbating. That's just every
a normal day.
That's every 4 hours,
which makes doing these two shows back to back really awkward.
What do you think I do in the hour downtime?
He jerks off. He doesn't bother covering it up either.
No, he used to. He used to have more respect for us. He's gotten way too comfortable with this arrangement.
You know, it all started when those fan fictions started hitting, though.
Yeah. Yeah, let that settle in.
Oh, God. The first one was him and Chris. Okay, moving on.
This is my favorite one.
I love that there's just a flashlight in the middle of the studio floor where, like, from far away, from this camera up here, I'm sure that's like, oh, that's a fleshlight. Yep.
Giant dildo.
I'll let you go on thinking that, sure. Yep. That happened.
Well, it is now.
Okay. Turning to the desk of news that isn't necessarily gaming, but needs to be talked about. A Russian Middle Ages festival saw a battle of man versus machine as a man clad in full armor knocked a drone out of the sky with a spear.
First try, right?
First try. During a live combat session, the drone happened to be passing overhead to get the action on film when the participant spotted it. He turned, took a couple steps, and knocked it clear out of the air.
It was pretty impressive.
This is so worth a watch if you haven't seen this yet. It's so great.
Definitely. I'm so mad that we can't like just show videos on this show anymore.
Know.
We've gotten in so much trouble because of it. Like we've gotten emails about it. We've gotten like it took that entire friggin' Xseed debacle took us like 2 months to unwind, and it like put our account in jeopardy. Like that all was legitimately frustrating, and I really would love to be able to show this, but we just don't have the clearance.
Yeah, but nevertheless,
check
it out.
It is legit.
In an interview with Dragon Quest executive producer Yu Miyake, he confirmed that Square Enix is trying to bring Dragon Quest up to the level of popularity that Final Fantasy holds in North America. Starting with Dragon Quest VIII, they put a lot more work into localization and voice acting than in the past, and he acknowledged that Akira Toriyama's more cartoonish art style isn't as well received in North America as it is in Japan.
Can we try getting Final Fantasy's popularity back up to where it should be before we worry about Dragon Quest?
That's fair. The thing is, though, is that like I don't think it's necessarily Akira Toriyama's art style. It's like it's some of the enemies, like some of the enemies, like the blobs. Like I know that's so iconic.
They're slimes. Thank you very much.
Whatever the fuck they are. Well, I know they're super iconic to the series. I don't think that they're a terribly satisfying enemy, and I felt like in every Dragon Quest game I played, that's like 90% of the enemies that I fought.
Well, and they kind of acknowledge that where they talk about how in North America, the art style and some of those enemies, it gives it a childish feel to it, and there creates a tension, and in Japan, that just doesn't exist. They don't notice that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's always turned me off to Dragon Quest was I guess maybe not the art style, but particularly the art style in regards to the enemies, yeah.
Well, but here's the thing, though, is I always kind of think of like, yeah, but Chrono Trigger didn't suffer from any of that.
Was that maybe because of when Chrono Trigger came out?
It could be.
What the graphics were like then?
Yeah, SNES. Yeah, I will definitely give that to you. But even when you see those character designs on like a character sheet, there's still good character designs, you know? Like even if Chrono Trigger got new graphics, I don't think that if I had a problem with it, I don't think it would have been in the character design.
That's fair.
So
I think the biggest problem with the whole Dragon Quest series is I can't determine which one is different from the other one because all of the like graphics and the enemies look the same from 1 all the way into 8. Like it's like they didn't even try to dress up the slimes. It's like literally the same slime, copy and pasted through generations of Dragon Quest.
that's kind of a good point.
Yeah, when you see any Final Fantasy game, you can tell what it is usually by the art style immediately. You know it's Final Fantasy, and you know which one it is.
That's true. That is very true. Every time they would go to do a new game, it's not like they would reuse the sprites from the previous game or reuse the assets from a previous game. Like, a lot of it would be based off of Amano's art style, but then, subsequently changed or altered, or they put, you're right, its own spin on it. Each game had its own sort of unique take on what those monster designs were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We reported a couple months ago that Terry Crews wanted to voice Doomfist, an upcoming character in Overwatch. And after a shout-out of support from The Rock and a visit to Blizzard's development studio last month, speculation is now run wild that our hopes have come true. For those who don't play, Doomfist is a moniker held by multiple people who have served as the main antagonist to Overwatch in the past. References to the character can be seen all the way back to the reveal trailer. Terry Crews visits the studio for a day. They won't say what for. I think he's probably done the voice.
That's probably not a bad guess.
I hope they design the character to be Terry Crews too.
Just big Hulk and Terry Crews.
Well, it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Zarya's aesthetic was actually based on an actual Blizzard employee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think what I really want for Doomfist is if anyone's played Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Spencer, aka the Bionic Commando, where he just catapults himself and grapples with his hand, with mechanical hand all over the place. That's what I want for Doomfist, where he just grapple hooks to an enemy and just punches him in the face.
Interesting. And I've already seen references to him. There's apparently a level where the payload that you escort is his gauntlet.
Yep. The Doomfist?
The Doomfist, yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's going to be really weird when Doomfist is escorting his own payload.
Yeah.
Still won't stay on the payload.
Do you think they will actually have him as a playable character or just kind of introduce him as a character in the lore?
No, I think he'll be a playable character.
Right.
Yeah. They might even go so far as to change something about that level so that there isn't that weird sort of, paradoxal thing, but maybe not.
It'd be weird for 4 Doomfists all on the map escorting the gauntlet.
What if the Doomfist
What if they just don't give a shit?
Oh, or maybe they don't give a shit.
Yeah, maybe they just don't give a shit, and they're just that's what happens. Yep, that'll happen. That'll just happen when you're in an Overwatch, man.
Look, Nate. I know that Square Enix has hurt you, but Blizzard does care. Okay, they care.
Nate can't comprehend caring from a game developer.
I don't believe it. I know better. I know better.
Fair enough.
Can't let my
Blizzard
guard down.
loves you, Nate.
No.
Embrace the Blizzard.
I don't believe that.
Nate,
embrace the Blizzard.
If you just let them give you the hug, man, they're not going to knife you in the back. They just want a hug. He can't do it. He's been hurt.
I've been down that road too many times.
Speaking of Overwatch,
that's what the last one said.
The group stages of Overwatch's winter premiere got underway this week, but missing some of its star power. Both Cloud9 and Fnatic dropped out of the tournament the day it was scheduled to begin, with FaZe and Citizen 7 taking their spots. No confirmation yet on why exactly they dropped out, though it is speculated they were invited to play in OGN Apex Season 2, which would be a little bit more prestigious.
Okay,
I guess I could see
not
that.
as juicy of gossip as I was hoping it was going to be.
Because I was going to say, yeah, that would make sense if they dropped to do a more widely viewable event, but otherwise it doesn't seem to make much sense.
Yeah, I mean OGN Apex Season 2, they haven't officially made it public that the invite went out to them, but that's what makes sense on why they would drop out. Why else would you leave? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, all right. Yeah, this news story. Okay. I want to know who put this on the outline first of all. Because
you can check that.
I don't know how I can be expected to handle this at all.
I guess we know who it was.
Angry reading it. I was angry trying to type up something. Literally, on our note sheet here, it just says, "No, really, what the fuck," right here. Was it, Chris? Was this just to make me mad?
Hang on. Can you give the audience some idea of why it makes you mad and what the story is?
This can't be real.
This is a group of people who are identifying as transabled. They believe that they are supposed to be disabled, whether it be blind, deaf, missing a leg, missing an arm. And they have gone so far as to crush parts of their body to make this happen, or voluntarily have things amputated.
Practicing on animals?
I didn't read that, but maybe.
Yeah, that's what this article says. He even practice on animals.
And what the actual fuck?
I've heard of this.
I've heard of
this, yeah.
I've never heard of this.
Really?
Like, listen to this line and tell me this doesn't sound like something out of The Onion. When he cut off his right arm with a very sharp power tool, a man who now calls himself One Hand Jason let everyone believe it was an accident. He actually calls himself One Hand Jason?
Yeah, it seems like something off The Onion. Like,
it does.
When you read this article, it should be off The Onion. This doesn't make any sense.
But there's also another aspect to it where it's driven, at least in the story that I read, that it's driven by some kind of sexual feeling. That's what it's underlying, that there's some sort of fetish associated with losing a limb.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that bit.
That there's that part of it. Yeah, I don't remember if I heard about this from an NPR story or because I go to weird places on the internet, guys. I don't know what you want. I go into super weird places.
No, Nate, that's all we need to know. Do not go any further. We know all about your weird places, or at least we can imagine.
But I'm just saying, I've definitely heard of this story before, because the first time I heard about it, I went, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
Like, I had the exact same reaction that you guys have. Now, like, I'm just like, this is old hat.
Oh my god. But like, there are so many people like in the transgender community who are like, this is not what we need to have becoming a thing right now. I don't like, this is infuriating.
No, what I think needs to have more attention paid to it, and I'll be straight honest, is like there are like NAMBLA pedophiles
and North American Marlon Brando lookalikes
that are like trying to attach themselves to like totally legitimate trans efforts. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And
down here at the
it's
this
pretty
article,
fucked.
It says that it has recently been added as a neurological disorder known as body integrity identity disorder.
That's what it was. I think it was an NPR article or an NPR story about how this got added to the DSM this year.
Yep. In 2013, it was added.
Yeah.
Dude, like, what the fuck?
It's been a thing. I'm telling you, it's been a thing. It's fucking weird, man.
The way I see it is these people are there's just something wrong with them mentally. That's the only way I can take this seriously.
Yeah, kinda.
Mm-hmm.
Like
that's why it got added to the DSM. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Callie.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to experience that rage aneurysm this morning.
Yeah.
Mass Effect Andromeda will be releasing in North America on March 21st, 2017.
Holy shit. Dude, that's like
so hard right now, guys.
The fourth game in the series from BioWare, Andromeda looks to begin a new story far away from the events of Mass Effect 1 through 3.
That means I have to play through Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on stream again before this comes out.
You know, you hadn't had...
Buckle up.
You hadn't had the hype meter there until was the release.
Dude, that's 3 months. That's in 3 months, dude.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Have we seen like any like real gameplay trailers or like any information?
Gameplay footage that was very brief. It looked a lot like, classic Mass Effect type stuff. We couldn't really draw a whole lot of conclusions from it. But yeah, this is still very, very, very much under wraps, which honestly isn't that different from how I remember Mass Effect 3 launching. They had like 5 or 6 different trailers, but they were almost all cinematic trailers, and then there was one demo. Yeah. Oh my god, guys, I'm getting so hot right now. Oh man. I wonder what Nika's doing.
What?
Well, I mean, he likes Mass Effect.
Oh.
That's not how anyone is going to take that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm so hot right now. I wonder what Nika's doing.
That was weird.
Yeah.
That's true. That was weird. That was weird.
Okay, awkward.
Nice. Okay.
Anyway. Nika's a boy right now, cosplaying a boy. Maybe that's why he's really hot right now.
Anyway, Ridley Scott has confirmed he will be serving as executive producer on a upcoming VR experience for Alien Covenant. There isn't a release date yet, but the film is hitting theaters May 19th, so we'd have to imagine it'll be in that area.
Get ready to shit out your colons. Holy fuck.
Ridley Scott? Hell yeah.
We were just talking about, like, can a VR experience be too intense? Like, is there a level of violence where, like, it's just, like, it becomes too fucking much? Ridley Scott can find that. Like,
dude, face hugger in VR, that's going to be terrifying.
Fucking A. What the fuck, dude?
I'm probably going to end up playing that. That's scary.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds fucking terrifying.
I mean, just like the first time, like you've got an alien pins you down and opens up its mouth. And
a xenomorph? Yeah.
The little like, tongue alien comes out. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great.
All right. A European hacker group called Cyber Wolfgang took over Square Enix's European Twitter account this week, harassing and insulting people for about 3 hours. They trashed on FIFA and later on EA directly, telling them to fuck off and calling them losers. Oddly, they did very little in the way of attacking Square Enix themselves, except, of course, blocking about half their followers.
This was pretty funny. I can't remember who it was, but somebody about midweek had taken a screenshot of some of the shit that they had said on the Twitter, and they sent it to me, and they were like, "I didn't know that Xerox was still active." And I'm like, "God damn, that's fucking funny. That's very funny." So
Jim immediately started taking credit for that.
Oh my god.
I don't go by Xerox anymore. Now it's a Cyber Wolfgang, but yeah, still active.
I picked the gayer name, the gayer hacker name, Cyber Wolfgang.
You use 3s for E's, right?
That's right.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
And every other letter was capitalized.
God damn it. That's so rage-inducing. People who capitalize... No, guys. People in real life who actually capitalize every single word of a sentence, oh my god, I want to smash their skulls in.
Jeez.
Sorry. That was a little much.
Yeah,
okay.
Conan O'Brien's Clueless Gamer segment appears to be being adapted into a television show. O'Brien is not set to host the series, but instead will be an executive producer for it.
I'm fine with this.
What's the point of doing it if he doesn't host it?
I'm torn on it. Because we've talked about his Clueless Gamer segment before, and how, like, out of all the people who've tried to capitalize on this whole gaming, and I don't really get gaming thing, he's the only one that's ever felt genuine, right?
Right.
I don't know if this is going to translate well into a TV show that doesn't come across as anything but condescending. There's a chance it could be fine.
Only because I mean, are you only saying this because he's not directly involved with hosting it?
He's producing it still.
Right.
So it's possible. I'm definitely willing to give it a try, but I wonder if this is one of those things where, more is just, it's too much.
Maybe. I mean, The Simpsons started as a bit on another show, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, it really depends on who they get as the clueless gamer. I mean, there's so many people that they could get, but, like, that's going to be, because the appeal is Conan, like.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think, like, yeah, you definitely need to have that hook, that person that really just sort of sets the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they miscast it, it could definitely be a dumpster fire. But I'm not going to write it off just because he's not hosting it. I get it, dude. You can't host a fucking nightly talk show and do it.
Oh no, definitely.
You fucking crazy?
Yeah, you'd out of your mind.
Right.
All right, this last story might be one of my favorites of the year so far. Nate, if you could maybe bring up this image as I talk about it here.
Oh, God.
Resident Evil 7 has had...
Am I allowed to? Will we get banned for this?
No.
Are you sure?
Well,
that did not sound sincere. I don't think you believe yourself.
If us twerking didn't get us banned, I first of all question what will. It doesn't show anything bad, no.
I mean, well, no, but the entire... Okay, I mean, I'm putting it up. I'm just saying.
Resident Evil 7 has had a souvenir USB drive modeled after the in-game dummy finger item. Unfortunately, especially when plugged in, it doesn't quite look so much like a finger. So, but if you want your USB finger, you can get it with the game collector's edition of the game.
That definitely looks like a penis.
That's a penis.
That's your penis.
Someone's definitely gonna end up masturbating with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's. I mean,
sure does. That's not a finger.
I mean, it's even got the head.
I don't see a fingernail anywhere on that.
Someone gonna report the stream for this?
You know what? I feel like I have to. I can't live with myself if I don't reported.
It's
we're hanging on it for a while here too.
And we should, because this deserves to be seen. That's you know what? This is a finger.
It's a penis.
This is a finger. It's a penis. Oh, yeah, that's a penis. That's a burned penis, no less.
Yeah.
Penis.
It looks like a burnt penis.
I feel like there's veins on it and everything.
Like, you know how
there's veins in your finger also, Rob.
They don't bulge like that.
You know,
maybe they do when you're burned. You don't know.
You know how like you roast hot dogs on a campfire? It looks like someone just sort of fell asleep roasting gently roasting the penis.
No.
Doesn't it? It does. It looks like someone was like
when you take the USB stick out,
it
kind of looks like where the stick was that was holding it. Yeah.
Oh,
like someone because it definitely isn't the pink of like a raw penis.
No.
It was. It's thoroughly cooked, but just the end of it is burnt. So it was like they had it and it was almost complete, right?
Yeah.
They had the butt bun was all ready for it to go into. They have it all set with the cum relish and everything. Okay.
Oh.
All right. But someone distracted this poor person, and they let the tip.
Yeah.
They're
like, are you roasting a penis?
The tip of their roasted penis burn in the campfire.
It looks like it has two foreskins.
It kind of does. It kind of looks like it's wearing a cock ring.
Yeah, kind of.
Right? Like that kind of looks like a cock ring. Sure. That second knuckle.
Skiro can let us know. All right. For more information on the news and other stories, visit our blog at finalencountercast.com.
All right.
Run.
But why would you?
Run.
Why would you?
Which, by the way, you can view that video.
You're all 12 years old. That's correct.
You can also keep looking at the burnt penis ad if you want. It really does. It looks like the most burnt cock I've ever seen in my life.
How many have you
How many
seen?
burnt cocks have you seen?
Why is this a comparison point?
Well,
He goes to some really shady internet places, okay?
I'm telling you.
Is this where you go for your amputated stuff?
I told you. I go to weird places on the internet.
Burntpenises.com.
That is very on the nose.
Actually, you'd be surprised that one is not taken. Like, there's a market that we can corner on this.
Oh, great. So when I get to tell people what I do for a living... Well, let me tell you something. It's not glamorous work, but I've got the market cornered on burned scrotums and penis eye.
What does a penis eye look like? just the hole?
I'm very not happy to have to understand.
Well, hold on, Kelly. If that does end up being a lucrative business model, are you then going to expand to burnt vaginas?
They're much harder to burn, just so you know.
And to be fair,
Are you speaking from experience?
Well, just think about it. Like, you know, like that's how do you put a
There's more
vagina onto a
lubrication.
stick?
well, there's more lubrication.
Can we move on? Need to move on.
I feel like you would put the fire on a stick and then insert it into the vagina.
Why is this happening? I want to go back to the fanfics now.
Burnt tacos.
Burnt tacos. Holy shit.
And you didn't want him on the show today.
I don't want him on the show ever.
Oh, fair enough.
Fans love me.
And we thought the other show was going to derail today. Man.
All right. Well, so this is, I don't know how to segue this. I'm like legitimately at a
Well,
loss.
that's a thing. Let's never talk about it ever again. There's your segue.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, why did we end on this segment?
It's a good question. Ask the guy who puts the articles in order.
I want you to know I very consciously put that at the end.
Oh, I'm sure that if any of our contributors hear this setup, that they'll love it.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yay! All right, so we have been hard at work for about 6 months working on a brand new show.
And just killed it in one segment.
I know, right? And suddenly that show is no more. All of our
Canceled.
opportunities are,
Are burned away.
rubber stamp canceled. So yeah, we've got a new show. It's going to be premiering in the second week of February. That's when we're set to launch the show. But we have been hard at work on a brand new website, a brand new show for you guys. And we shared the site earlier, but just in case you're just joining us, here's the website. And you can check out a preview of the site. Not all of the text, by the way, has been filled in. So just so you know.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we're slow. We're slowly getting there. But we have finally finalized what the demo is that we want to present to radio stations, to listeners, and we want to share it with you today. So before we play the demo, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Checkpoint, because this has been a really kind of cool process to have happen. First of all, because I think like we're very used to making podcasts and sort of making our own rules. And when you go from making a podcast and having no expectations and really sort of setting your own set of expectations outside of what the audience ends up expecting of you as well, that when you move to radio, when you make the jump over to radio, you've not just got, you know, the expectations of the audience, the expectations of the station, the expectations of those station managers and all of the advertisers that would be investing in the content, but you've also got time. Like, time becomes a really huge factor. And so discussions where we could really spread out and really have a lot of room to move suddenly become very tightly focused discussions. And I think that's been really fascinating to both learn that process and to watch you guys develop with that process. Because, you know, we're using a lot of the same people that for Checkpoint that we use for Final Encounter and for Limit Break Radio. The only new person that we're adding is Norris, who we've had on. I don't think, have we had him on FEC? I know we had him on LBR.
I don't think we've had him on FEC yet.
I don't know that. I don't remember if he was able to stick around for FEC or not. But
I don't was.
But yeah, Norris is going to be really the only new addition to the show outside of people that you already know. And the thing about it is that, you know, all of the broadcast experience that both Robbie and Callie have really kind of been done within the confines of the podcast and of Limit Break Radio or their own, you know, ventures in podcasting. So
failed ventures.
whatever you want to call it. That's your words, not mine. But it's been really kind of fascinating to kind of watch this whole thing settle in and to see, like, okay, well, can we do this? Like, that was sort of the first question, like, is this possible? Like, can we take what we've built on Final Encountercast and make it radio friendly? And I think we did. Like, I think we've done that very, very well here. So I'm kind of curious, like, Callie, what has been a big kind of learning experience for you doing Checkpoint?
The extra amount of prep work that has to go into it. Like on FEC, our outlines, if you've seen them, it's usually like our news articles, and then I type out what I want to say for those. But then our discussion is like just some points that we're going to hit on.
Right.
A Checkpoint episode is 2 hours scripted down to like the second.
I wouldn't say like down to the second. Like, we've got, like, we write lead-ins and the setups for the next segment, like our front cells. So we have those to kind of buttress each segment, and then inside of that we have, kind of like similar to a Final Encountercast outline. We have kind of like bullet points of like stuff that we want to cover.
It's like from minute 1 of the show to minute 12, this is what we're talking about. Then we're going into commercial. Then we come out of it talking about this
because we fit it into a clock.
Right,
like,
that's so different than like on LBR, especially when we were doing the old version of it where we would go 6 hours in a day. We stretched any little conversation out about as far as we could take it. I mean, and now we've had to condense it back down into just the most kind of pure version of it that we can.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that has been, I mean, it's been an adjustment for us as a cast, but I think it's also been like, there's a part of it that's refreshing because it's like every time you hit a break, you got to reset. It's time for a new thing. It's time for the next thing.
And every time we go into those breaks, we're always like, I had so much more I wanted to say.
And that's the thing is like, where you would be able to get into all of that very granular stuff, you're really only able to glance on it with something like this.
And one more thing I think people will like about this show, if you like the shows that we do, but sometimes like the rage and yelling is a bit too much for you, you will love Checkpoint.
Yeah, I think Checkpoint may be a little bit more
palatable,
what you're looking for.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah. So Robbie, how about you? What have you learned, or what have you been able to take away from doing Checkpoint?
Well, I'm going to disagree with just about everything Callie said right there, because I think that programming for Checkpoint is a lot easier because, we draw a lot of our topics from FEC, so that's already done. The person who has to worry about fitting stuff into a time clock is you. So, Callie, the whole like, oh, we have to cut this down, blah, blah, blah. You don't do anything.
No, and I don't mean to say, like, I think it's harder. It was just, it's different.
It is.
The way we do Checkpoint is sort of, that was a learning thing.
Yeah, the only thing that I think is difficult is because there is no, the time things are, so rigid and there's not really a lot of forgiving spaces in there, that even if you have a really, really good point that you were about to slam somebody with, doesn't matter. We're done. We're moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, Nate on the show has his symbol for when, like, we got it, like, that's the last point, it's done, and we all kind of dread seeing that sign when it, because because no matter what you have to say at that point, you're like,
and you know what? And this is going to be really hard to hear for you guys, because this is something that I haven't brought up with you before.
Oh, great!
But we got to even get tighter on that.
No!
Like, I know, right? Like, when you see the high sign, like, dude, it's time. We got to go to break. Like, it's sometimes it's like, I'll give the break sign, and you guys will keep going on for 2 more points. And I know because they're great points, but it's like, nope, that can't happen.
You got to break.
We have hard ins and outs. Like, it's a hard timed show. So yeah, it becomes kind of a complicated dance. And I don't know. I've been really proud of the way that we've been able to adjust to that. It's a big adjustment to make, I think, for a lot of shows. And like, I think we slid into that firstly because we've been doing this for so long. That's part of it. Like, we've trained ourselves for so long on, like, having rapport back and forth and having good, interesting conversations that it becomes second nature to just like when it's like the topic is set up to just keep going, keep contributing. It's like I think where we're going to struggle is finding that good out point. You know what I mean? Like we've made our points. Like let's try to get all the points that we want to make into this segment. That's going to be a challenge. So
I agree.
Shut up, Chris. You're not even a part of this. Reason we didn't ask you.
I love Chris's just like laugh that he does when he's kind of uncomfortable because he sounds like Barney Rubble.
I was just waiting for like any attempt at a comeback. Nothing?
I got nothing.
No.
I was going to try to work in something with the hard stops and hard goes and just being hard on the radio and penis. I got nothing.
All right, great.
I got nothing. Describes a lot of his material. Anyway, all right. So that's enough talking about it. I think let's actually play what we had
out for 6 months
of the demo. Yeah, we've been waiting on this for 6 months. We've been holding this back. It's now time to hear Checkpoint Radio. Now, one of the things that I want to point out that you'll hear on the imaging for this is you'll hear a guy by the name of Jim Cutler. Now, this guy is you'll recognize his voice because this is the ESPN voice guy. We got the official voice of ESPN Radio to do our production VOs. So just wanted to send a big shout out to Jim. I also want to thank Kevin and Rick, who have been acting as our consultants and also been working at setting up the sales end of this show. It's been a pretty big endeavor, but we're now ready. We're ready to share it with you guys. So without further delay, here is the premiere of the 1 hour demo. It's more like 45 minutes, but we're calling it the 1 hour demo. The hour demo for Checkpoint Radio.
Welcome in to Checkpoint, Esports and Gaming Radio. A complete look into all things esports and gaming. Here are your hosts, Nate Bender, Robbie Landis, Norris Howard, and Joe Sloan.
Welcome to Checkpoint Radio, your source for the latest in esports and gaming news and discussion. My name is Nate. Glad to have you along. We have an exciting show for you today, starting with our top story. Blizzard has announced that it will be launching a new esports league centered around their game Overwatch. The difference? Overwatch League will have teams based in major cities, and talent will be guaranteed contracts that include salary and benefits, signaling a huge shift in the relationship between leagues and pro players. Joining me to discuss how this could impact competing leagues and what this means for the future of esports, we have, as always, the Checkpoint crew, Robbie, Norris, and Joe over at the news desk. Let's talk about Overwatch League, because I think that this is going to be one of the biggest shifts that esports has seen, and to the benefit of pro players as opposed to the leagues and the folks that are selling the tickets and making the money. This is really focused on the talent. And I think that that's pretty huge, and especially coming out of Blizzard. Norris, what do you think, man?
Well, number one, I think only Blizzard and maybe a select other companies have the resources to be able to do something like this. Blizzard's a huge company, and really a lot of other smaller studios or production companies that maybe have the right ideas. I mean, I don't even think Capcom would do something this large. I think it's really come down to how large Blizzard is and them being able to do it.
Yeah, a few things to keep in mind is, obviously Riot and League of Legends are the other really big one that's out there right now. And, we've talked about a story at one point where they're actually operating in the red, and they're one of the most successful ones out there. So it definitely does take a huge company to be able to pull this off. But there are two things that I think Blizzard has going for them. The first is the fact that they plan on compensating their players in a fair way. That's already going to be extremely attractive to any other pros out there who are in those situations where Joe we've had a talk one time where you said like they're gaming like 18 hours a day. They're not allowed to see family, friends, girlfriends. And the other big thing is that Overwatch right now has so much momentum behind it. It's
You're right.
So brand new.
You're right. It is. I mean, it came out just this year. It's a brand new game and a lot of hype surrounding it. And this, you're right, this does attract a lot of talent. There's a lot of overlap in skills between games, whether you're talking about Counter-Strike Go or any other first-person shooter. You're applying a lot of those skills in Overwatch. And I have to imagine that if you're on one of these teams that's really only just getting by on whether or not you're winning those pots at the end of tournaments or not, that this is really hugely attractive. Now, the other big shift that we're going to see here is the regional teams. We're going to have teams that are based in major cities. And I think that that is a huge shift because we've mostly seen esports play out in leagues on an international scale. And that means that you're tapping international talent. But this is highly focused on North American players and supporting a North American-centric esports community. I think that that's huge.
Well, we identified that not horribly long ago as one of the major things that traditional sports has an advantage over esports. Being able to tap into that competitive nature of fans and people's pride in where they come from and where they live. Everyone wants to get behind their city's team. There's a reason where if you're from Detroit, you don't root for Baltimore. It's just not something you do.
The other cool thing about that too is when you have the idea that each of these teams are going to be based out of a city or several out of a state, this opens up the door for a lot more amateur players to get a shot at going to a professional level.
Sure, absolutely. Do you think that this is going to end up forcing other esports leagues to enforce or to adopt the same standards? Because this is going to be hugely cost intensive, and a company as large as Blizzard can absolutely spin off another company to absorb some of that cost. They have a lot of operational budget that somewhere like ESL or MLG, they may not be able to present. So do you think that this is going to put them in a tough financial position?
I don't know about the financial position, but I think that Blizzard is definitely poised in a way where they could start making major ripples in that direction. At the beginning of the year when Overwatch first came out, there were all types of statistics and stories going out about how other games have been affected by Overwatch. There were charts that showed how popular League was, and the day that Overwatch came out, that popularity started to plummet. There was even his name escapes me right now, but there was a professional League player who I think almost lost his team because he was spending so much time playing Overwatch. Now, if Blizzard actually decided to make that their goal, if they also want to try and push this type of agenda or this type of mindset onto the other sports, I think that it's something that they could easily do.
I don't think that it's like one of those things where it's going to force the hand of other leagues, but if it's successful, what it will do is provide a model that people will be able to look at and say, oh, wait, this is how we can make a successful esports league for ourselves.
Well, and one of the other things that we talk about as we reference right now traditional sports, one thing that you also do is you begin to have, like you said, this feeling of identity. And that's a number one thing that esports always had that it kind of lacked is you go in and you watch these players sometimes on a team or individual basis, and it's hard to attach yourself to them. I think by adding that, plus with Blizzard's infrastructure, being able to really fund all these types of things, and then you can, of course, couple with local sponsors and maybe smaller development companies, and you can start to do that, and the infrastructure grows simply because the start of it was so well, and you have more identity to it now.
That's a great point. A lot of small businesses don't have advertising opportunities because you need such a large overhead to be able to advertise on such a wide scale. Some of these matches are reaching millions of eyes, and so that drives the cost of ad buys up by a lot. And so this will make I think, a very competitive environment. I think it will also be able to bring esports to the local level. And I think that you hit on something that, there's this very real thing that individuals have very large followings, and as they go from team to team, they'll take those followings with them, not unlike a traditional sports superstar. And that there should be some team identity. There should be some local identity, with a lot of, especially the League of Legends teams. You get international identity, you get maybe some vague regional identity, West Coast. Is there even a competitive East Coast League of Legends team?
I'm sure there is, but it's North America. You're North America.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, when you talk about Cloud9, that's a North American identified team. And for those that root for Cloud9, they're really rooting for North America. They identify for North America.
Well, it feels like the Olympics. Anytime a national or an international event goes on, you're hoping that your region wins. And what I think Blizzard is trying to do is harness that exact feeling, but bring it down to a more localized level.
There's been some really interesting research done on crossover fandoms with esports fans and how they also consume traditional sports. And they find that the traditional sports that they gravitate towards are your fighting, MMA, racing, and soccer. Is that a huge surprise to anyone else? No, I don't think so, because in that you have 3 different genres of video games that I think are very widely played and consumed represented there. And I think that makes sense. And a lot of those, you don't necessarily have a local identity attached to those. And I wonder if that's going to impact fandom for esports on a different level as well.
Well, I think it could really take it to the next level, because you brought up a good comparison with the real sports that gamers gravitate towards. And when you do that, you have identity with your local teams, but with identity comes something called branding. Like, there are people who are fans of Real Madrid who will never in their lives visit Spain, but they identify with, I don't know, not just the branding of the team, but like you said, individual superstars.
I was a huge fan of Bas Rutten, and I've never been to Brazil.
Exactly. So you see all these things and you consume it from a media standpoint, and then you get more fans, you get more followers, because maybe you get, Daigo Umehara joins, I don't know, the New York City team, right, even though he's not from New York.
But what's interesting with esports is that, they have developed a really wide international following, and it's really in the United States that a lot of these leagues are having trouble gaining traction. And so, I really think that this is a specific and conscious effort on Blizzard's part to make a more westernized style league, to say, look, this is more akin to your NBAs, your MLBs, your NHLs, and so it will be more consumable to a Western audience. And I think that that's going to be a huge critical component to get in place moving forward to expand esports' fan base.
Well, something Robbie alluded to is that this is going to bring more people into playing these esports, and one thing they're looking to do is have the idea of a farm club. If you want to get into your local area's professional team, you will have an idea of what path you have to follow to get there. You will know who your local farm clubs are where they're seeking and developing talent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is another really important part of, and that also plays into the college systems. There are college systems that are starting to be set up for esports, and that was one of the first pieces of official infrastructure that was put in place to support players. And again, I want to say again that Blizzard is making a huge supportive move for the players, and I think that really needs to be emphasized. All right, coming up, we're going to be talking to WWE Raw Tag Team Champion Xavier Woods about his YouTube channel Up, Up, Down, Down. That's ahead here on Checkpoint.
This is Checkpoint, esports and gaming radio. This is Checkpoint, esports and gaming radio on checkpointradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Checkpoint Radio. You can check us out on the web at checkpointradio.com. Hope that you do. While you're there, subscribe to the podcast, check out all of our episodes, and hang out with us whenever you can find us. You ever wonder what it takes to run a successful YouTube channel? Well, joining us now is special guest Austin Creed. Austin launched a YouTube gaming channel where he interviews and plays games with his coworkers, which sort of sounds like your basic premise for a YouTube channel until you learn that Austin's work name is Xavier Woods and his coworkers are some of WWE's superstar talent. Austin is currently 1/3 of the reigning WWE Raw Tag Team Champions The New Day and host of Up Up Down Down YouTube channel. Austin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Austin Creed, aka Xavier Woods. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Dude, it's so nice to have you on. So tell us, how did Up Up Down Down get started?
So what essentially started the channel is the fact that we have the WWE Network, and it's like a subscription service where you have all of our different shows that are on there, all of our different pay-per-views from back in the day, and then we have original content such as Renee Young has a show called Unfiltered where she interviews people. Corey Graves has a show where he talks about the guys' tattoos or guys and girls' tattoos that are on the roster, things like that. And so essentially they're taking things that people loved and letting them make shows about them. So while we travel from town to town, which is legit 52 weeks a year, minimum 5 nights a week, we're bouncing to different towns every single day, a lot of times overseas as well. I always try to find arcade bars, and I'll go to those and play a ton of games and meet a bunch of cool people, and I usually make pretty good friends with the owners. And so what I wanted to do is kind of replicate the show that they have on the Travel Channel, where, you know, they have like Anthony Bourdain, and he's going around to different places and eating all these different foods. So, you know, when you go to Colombia, go eat here. When you go to Brazil, go eat there. I wanted to say, when you go to Kansas City, go to this arcade bar. When you go to Atlanta, go to this one. When you're in Portland, go to this one. So I kind of pitched that idea, and they weren't too keen on it because I don't think they really had a foothold in how big the gaming world was and like how much of a crossover there was between that and wrestling. And so I ended up meeting with another guy who just wanted to make a YouTube channel for the company, and he worked on the office side of things. And so we merged our ideas together and just created a YouTube gaming channel. And so after maybe like a year of talks with the higher ups of the company, we got the green light started up, and we filmed the first very awkward episodes in his basement. And then it just kind of popped off from there. But it's been cool learning the whole process of being a YouTuber and making tons of friends in the community, and like understanding how difficult it is to actually keep a YouTube channel going. Is it's a lot of people just say, I want to be on YouTube and I want to do this and do that, and it's like, no, like, you don't understand it's a full-time job. Like, it's very serious.
Right. So
don't jump into it unless you're actually ready to put the work and effort in.
Well, on that note, I mean, the WWE has a notoriously insane work schedule, as you alluded to, and we're no strangers to the craziness that comes with running a show. Where do you find both the motivation and the time to make as much content as you do?
Well, the main thing for me is that I wanted to be taken seriously in the YouTube world, and because I know how much work it takes, so I didn't want it just to be kind of, do this halfway. And so for me, I've always been a very driven person and trying to get the things that I want. And so in making friends, like I said, in the community and getting their feedback and their help, trying to use all the resources that I have, I just focus, obviously, enough of my time on wrestling, because that's my dream, has been my goal since I was a child to get there, and it's my job. But to make sure the YouTube channel is successful and that it's constantly growing, I just make sure that I use what I have to my advantage. And I feel like a big advantage that I have that some people don't is the fact that I do travel everywhere. So I am able to do collaborations with other people that are, overseas in the UK. We did a bunch of stuff in London with some people, or, even in South America, we went down there, and to be able to connect with YouTubers all across the world. And as far as like finding time for it, there's this stuff that I forgot existed. I think it's called sleep. so there's not a lot of that going on.
Well, speaking of, you don't just interview wrestlers. You had YouTuber Emma Blackery, also actor comedian Wayne Brady, Eric Bledsoe of the Phoenix Suns. Like, how crazy is it that it's a YouTube channel that is the thing that's providing this opportunity?
It's crazy because I'm getting to meet a lot of people that I really look up to. And then just like a lot of people that inspire me. And so especially being able to go to like conventions, so like VidCon. I would have never gone to VidCon if I wasn't running this channel, but because I went to VidCon, I got to meet a ton of people. Like you said, Emma Blackery, I got to meet the Lucas brothers, just tons of people that like are meaningful to me from my standpoint, So it's been really cool being able to do that. And the fact that this channel, it's kind of like my brain baby, and it's doing well and people enjoy it is like a really cool feeling.
This is Checkpoint Radio, esports and gaming radio. We're currently talking to Austin Creed, aka Xavier Woods of the WWE, and his YouTube channel, Up, Up, Down, Down.
The channel has been really well received, and it's had great growth. What have you learned about YouTube and making content for it? Like, what would be your biggest takeaway so far?
Honestly, when you have the time and the chance, start put in as much time as you can, because you don't know what's going to happen next week. So, for instance, we're running a WWE 2K17 series, and so when I was at home a few weeks ago, and I had 2 days to film, so I just filmed 20 episodes of it because, well, like I said, with the schedules, you don't know what's going to happen or what people, for one, are going to pop off on and what they're going to actually click and what they're going to like. So for me, I just like to make too much content. So then if something does happen and people enjoy it, you've got content already set and you can start working on new stuff. And if they don't necessarily like it, okay, well, content is there if it comes up at a later date where people enjoy it. But probably that, having too much content, and for me, with traveling, having a portable studio. I know that a lot of people have the luxury of being able to set up and keep their studio in their house or wherever else they might be. But for me, having a gaming laptop that can play everything, and then having capture devices that are all portable is super easy for me, because I'm everywhere. We're filming backstage in arenas, I'm filming in my hotel rooms, I'm filming at people's houses, all over the place. So I'd say that'd be the best takeaway for me, just learning how to be portable with my studio.
We're talking to Austin Creed of the YouTube channel Up, Up, Down, Down. So before we let you go, what have you been playing a lot of recently?
Oh, okay. I just got done with Mafia 3.
Nice.
And so good. It was definitely the most anticipated game for me, coming off of the heels of E3. As soon as I saw what it was about and the story of the main character and everything that you do throughout it, I was really hyped for it. So I'm biased in that sense of thinking it's one of the best games of the year. But I just got done with that. I'm trying to get back into Final Fantasy 14. I played for an hour 2 days ago, and I felt really good about myself because I hadn't played on my computer for a while, and I had to reboot the game, and so I had to reconfigure all of my controls because I play on a PlayStation controller, and so that took me 30 minutes, and so I burned that and was mad that I didn't get to play more. But trying to get back into that, I started Watch Dogs 2, so that's really fun. We're in the midst of a Madden tournament, so a little bit of Madden. I'm not really a sports games guy, but I did just get into NHL 17.
Oh, nice.
And I didn't realize that I even liked hockey, and it's super fun.
You gonna check out Pokemon Sun and Moon?
I actually literally just picked it up yesterday.
Nice.
I got Sun.
Nice.
I got Sun because I want that Vulpix. I want that Vulpix real bad. So I haven't played it. I literally just went through the intro and just picked my starter Pokemon, which I don't know the names of all of these new Pokemon. They're so confusing to me. I picked the fire one, the little cat thing.
Litten,
I think.
Litten, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick the other ones after, especially seeing their evolutions. It just...
Yeah.
Dude, Litten's final form is a wrestling fire cat. What more do you want?
Exactly. It's got the belt and everything.
Yeah. And also, too, in the story of Pokemon, if you pick the fire Pokemon first, you're going to be set for like the first 3 gyms.
Exactly. And you're not wrong. Dude, thanks so much. Austin Creed, host of Up, Up, Down, Down, the YouTube channel. You can find that over at youtube.com/Up, Up, Down, Down. You can also catch him as Xavier Woods, 1/3 of the New Day and current WWE Raw Tag Team Champion, live on WWE Raw at 8 p.m. on the USA Networks.
And you guys can catch me on Twitter at Xavier Woods PhD. Same thing on Instagram. Yes, thank you very much.
Austin, it was a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for your time, man.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you very much.
Ahead here on Checkpoint, we'll take a look at the latest headlines and gaming news in our esports gaming update, brought to you by EA. That's next here on Checkpoint.
Checkpoint, esports and gaming radio. This is Checkpoint, esports and gaming radio. CheckpointRadio.com.
Welcome back to Checkpoint Radio, esports and gaming radio. My name is Nate. Thanks for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, let me welcome you to our show. We're discussing all aspects of video gaming, from the industry to the enthusiast. We bring you a well-rounded view of gaming because it's the life that we've all lived and the culture that we've known for nearly our entire lives. So we want to be your source for the latest news and most important discussions. So let's take a look at the former half of that equation and kick it on over to Joe at the news desk for our esports gaming update.
Checkpoint's esports gaming update is brought to you by EA. Titanfall 2 is available now on Xbox, PlayStation, and Windows. The Boston Major is underway this week with $3 million in prize money on the line. The 16 remaining Dota 2 teams will battle it out with the finals taking place this weekend. The 2017 E-League Major for Counter-Strike Global Offensive begins next month in Atlanta. The prize pool is set at $1 million, and the finals will be broadcast on both Twitch and TBS.
$1 million.
So much money.
$1 million. That is an absurd prize pool. But again, it just lends credibility to this, to the fact that this is a growing opportunity. It's a growing sport. And more people are watching this, as evidenced by the fact that it's going to be on TBS.
Well, and TBS is now hosting their weekly E-League tournaments every Friday.
That's right. And they did a very visible Overwatch tournament not that long ago that pulled in some very impressive ratings. So, this is just... Look, it all plays to the benefit of the idea of esports and the growth of esports, and that's fantastic.
Heroes of the Storm saw the conclusion of the Gold Club World Championship this week, with Team Ballistics taking home the $90,000 first place prize. The fall champions struggled in the preliminary stages but found their form and cruised to the finals, shutting out MVP Miracle 3-0. Super Mario Run released today for iOS worldwide at a price point of $9.99 to unlock the full game. Nintendo is taking a gamble on its new platformer mobile game. Nintendo has confirmed that the game will be coming to Android, but as of yet, we have no release date.
How do we get a game called Super Mario Run before we get Sonic Run? Like, Mario's doing well already. Give Sonic his time back in the limelight.
It's because Sega's worth nothing.
I don't want to see any more Sonic games. Really, just never again.
Sonic really wore out his welcome. I mean,
Sonic Team really wore out their welcome.
The line of terrible games that they ended up producing in the mid 2000s era was just atrocious, and I don't think that anyone would buy it.
Yeah, basically everything after Sonic Adventure, pretty much.
Yeah, didn't they have like Sonic Hero where like he fell in love with like a human woman?
With a human woman. What is that about?
I guess they should have slowed down.
Oh no!
Wow, awful.
Boo this man.
Anyway.
I'm hilarious.
Kenneth Lee Coe, a financial executive for Holt of California, embezzled almost $5 million over the past few years from his company. On his list of luxury purchases, one stands out as he purchased $1 million worth of currency in the freemium app Game of War.
Oh my God. Was this guy a Game of War lord? Like, what do you do? What do you do if you have that much money in Game of War? What do you even use it on?
Oh my God, it's so ridiculous.
This is like dudes in EverQuest that would go broke buying in-game currency. Like, do you remember that from like the late 90s?
No, you know what
that was a regular thing.
You know what was worse? Those people were playing Second Life and spending literally thousands upon thousands of dollars
to pimp out their avatar.
Yes.
Here's what's wrong with this picture to me, because look, I'm guilty of the in-app purchases, especially with Overwatch and the winter holiday that's going on. All right? But $1 million worth?
Pokemon Go got me pretty good.
But $1 million worth.
No,
not that good.
Look, even if you had the money to blow $1 million worth.
Yeah, it's insane.
Hang on, just think about this for a second, okay? Like, someone gave Game of War $1 million. That game has $1 million on hand because of one guy who was embezzling it from the place that he worked at. Like, first of all, that's mind blowing. Second of all, that's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
That is the funniest thing I heard.
Hysterical. Because that is like, you know what that is? That's like having a relative that died and taking their credit card and jacking it up to its limit, buying useless stuff, and then saddling the credit card company with the bill. That's what that's like. Or at least that's what he tried to do, except he got caught.
So now he's in jail.
Yeah, now he's in jail. Because he's dumb, because you shouldn't break the law like that.
But he's ranked #1 in Game of War.
You know what? I wonder if that ranking will still hold when he's out of jail.
Get good.
Nintendo seems to be capitalizing on the hacking community rather than combating it. They're offering rewards ranging from $100 to $20,000 to people who find holes in the 3DS software that could lead to piracy, cheating, or dissemination of inappropriate content to children.
Now, let me explain why this actually worries me, because this is a pretty common thing that software developers do. Come hack my stuff so you can expose my security holes. We'll pay you. We'll actually pay you for your talent because you are providing a service. And sometimes it's done under the guise of a competition, which is a little bit more shady. But the thing that makes me worry is that we're on the cusp of releasing the Switch, and the 3DS is outbound hardware. Why hack it now? Why try to hack it now? I don't understand.
Unless the netcode is going to be similar.
Ouch.
That's what worries me.
Collective groan.
Yeah, that's bad. Even any of the firmware from the 3DS over on the Switch, I'm going to say, nuh-uh, bro. Don't do that. That's a bad move.
Yeah, it's possible. I think at this point, though, maybe they're just setting it up to be a system where they're just like, hey, we don't want people buying this to hack it and just use it as an emulator.
You know what? That's an interesting point, because that happened big time with Sony's PSP. And so, you know what? That may be a good point.
For the second time in the last 5 years, Crytek appears to be not paying its employees. All over the company, employees are filing complaints that they have not been receiving their paychecks or have been on extreme delays. This mirrors an issue from 2014 when Crytek stopped making payroll to avoid bankruptcy.
This really sucks.
Oh god, that issue led to some of the company being sold off, and one can only wonder what is going on behind the scenes at Crytek.
How does this happen twice?
Pay your employees.
First of all, how does a company survive it happening once? and then to happen again.
Yeah,
it's bad, man, and that's sad because some of the engines and stuff that they were making for all their games were absolutely.
They make bank. Like that's
second to none. Crytek is second to none.
Exactly, and that's the thing is that they have money inbound. It's definitely coming in. You can't have an engine that you license to that many games and that many, by the way, successful games. You do, because that's a big part. People don't talk about the licensing behind software engines very much because it's it's a technical concept and it's
hard to grasp.
It's not sexy.
A little,
it's boring.
It is. It's
hard
a little
to grasp.
But here's the thing. Here's the only takeaway that you need to know about licensing those engines is that at a certain point, like specifically for Unreal 4, they built the business model so that at a certain sales figure that Unreal is cut in to a certain percentage of that. Like the business models are built very, very fairly, and a lot of these companies go out of their way to price competitively because your options are either Unreal 4 or
Havoc
or the Source engine, things like that. Like there are a lot of options, and there are even more that scale to smaller hardware, so you have the ability to make mobile platform stuff.
So it's really hard to believe that
they don't have the ability.
They don't have the money.
Unless somebody's trying to take the top spot on Game of War again.
It really is. God, I still can't get over that. $1 million on Game of War.
That means to top him, someone's going to need to embezzle $2 million.
That's insane.
And those are the lead stories in the news brought to you by Muster Brand. Check out their line of high-quality gaming-inspired clothing at musterbrand.com.
$1 million. I can't get over this. I'm sorry. Just think about this. Like, can you even? What would you do with $1,000 on Game of War?
Think about, first of all, Pokemon Go, right?
Yeah.
What's the highest amount of money you can spend even at one time? Because I believe it's $100. Am I right?
Yeah. $99.99.
How long does it take to go through $1 million, 100 at a time? Think about the time investment.
Hey, maybe Game of War is a lot more forward thinking, and they put that price option in.
That's the thing in it. I don't even think you can do anything outside of like speed up the build of units after a certain point. Like I think in Game of War, like you can pay to get like the express build of
after you spend $500 in express building, it says we take checks.
That's insane. Like I really am having trouble because you think about the amount of money that you go through in your everyday life, and then you measure it up against $1 million. $1 million.
Why did they even like take that? Like I get it. They're a company. They're gonna say $1 million here.
Bro,
thanks.
if that check cashes, like you can't. If you're given $1 million, you gotta try. It'd be crazy not to.
But at first, if I'm in the financial department of Game of War, I'm looking at this like, guys, come on.
Someone's punking us.
Come on, guys. This can't be real.
Oh my God.
Even the developers of Game of War, like, our game's not that good.
It's not that good.
They're hoping for one eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes type that's just like, I love this game. Like, no one does that.
Wasn't Game of War or Game of War the one that had Kate Upton in the commercial?
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
They must have thought, man, that Kate Upton really bringing it home for
she's
us.
pretty.
No, I know. Now we know where they got the funding to be able to make commercials with Kate Upton and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Because they're getting $1 million.
Because they got $1 million from this guy. That's crazy. All right. Coming up after the break on Checkpoint Radio, esports are taking over cable television, but how are their presentations compared to Twitch streaming? Does television have a chance to capitalize on the growing esports audience, or have they already missed the boat? We'll discuss next here on Checkpoint Radio.
You're listening to Checkpoint. Check out the latest esports and gaming news and opinions at checkpointradio.com. This is Checkpoint, esports and gaming radio. CheckpointRadio.com.
Hey, welcome back into Checkpoint Esports and Gaming Radio. My name is Nate Bender. Thank you so much for joining me. Of course, around me is the Checkpoint crew. Got Robbie Landis. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going, man?
Norris Howard and Joe Sloan. What's up, guys?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Dude, in paradise, right?
I really want to talk to you guys about the future of esports on TV, because this seems to be the thing that legitimizes and cements a sport, a league in the zeitgeist, in the cultural fascination of a country or society, whatever you want to, however you want to set that lens. And to do it without television, to get as far as esports has without television support, to get as far on Twitch and through streaming platforms like Twitch and YouTube as they have, and to push ways of producing their shows, their live shows, their stage shows, and their online visual presentations to not just rival, but in some instances outdo what already exists on television. I think that it is worth noting, or at least worth talking about, whether or not esports will be able to penetrate into the greater cultural consciousness of an audience that is already watching an ESPN.
Well, I think, first of all, before we tackle the esports part, we can tackle just people's, in this country in particular, our emotional attachment to television in general. So once you begin to understand that, you understand that people still kind of feel anything streamed online, there's still a certain amount of detachment, especially as it pertains to events, sporting events.
Sure, and specifically, I think that pertains. There's like a generation gap there too. It's a certain age. We've seen Twitter make some pretty serious strides in streaming football games, and that is felt like a very weird medium to stream. I think it's Monday Night Football that they've been streaming, and so it feels like a very weird platform, but it's also had very successful viewership. It's hard to ignore as a platform. There's a lot of eyeballs there.
Well, I think a lot of what it is that generation coming up behind us, they're not watching as much television. They're getting as much of their media from the internet as they possibly can. So in a lot of ways, it's going to be, if you want more of this on television, it's going to be on us as gamers. When it's on TV, you got to tune in and watch it.
It's not even the generation before. Some of that's even bleeding over into our generation. I mean, the last time that I've watched actual TV, I can't remember. Everything I watch now is either downloaded or it's streamed. Whenever I want something, I go directly to the source. And like you said, the generation behind us, in how many years might that not even necessarily be a thing? Is TV something that we really need to fight for? Because if we wait for everything to go to streaming online services, we've kind of already got the monopoly on that.
Yeah, but I feel like we'll be waiting a really long time too, and it's already there. Like, it's already happening. Overwatch is being brought. Those tournaments are being broadcast on TBS. TBS is trying to really capitalize on this kind of viewership, and the fact that TBS isn't associated with a traditional sports product like ESPN, so you've got Capcom Cup on ESPN too. The fact that it's not associated with that, I think it's actually leading to greater returns for TBS as opposed to ESPN.
Well, TBS is definitely the ones who are spearheading that. Like, you see things on ESPN, although usually on increasingly higher numbers after that ESPN, but TBS, they have. I was shocked to turn on TBS about 6 months ago and see Counter-Strike Global Offensive being played. I had no idea.
And that's weekly. You had mentioned before that that's now a weekly thing on TBS.
And so my question is this. You mentioned it earlier, 3 words that every person in America, whether they like the sport or not, knows these 3 words. Monday Night football.
Yeah.
Everyone knows those 3 words. What is going to be the esports thing that everyone knows exists and when it happens?
And that's a great point, because we talk about, everything moving to streaming, but in big events, for the World Series, for the Super Bowl, for the World Cup even, you're going to try your best to be around a television set to watch those events. I mean, people throw huge parties for the Super Bowl. And I mean, I'm not trying to say esports can, or even the World Series or any sporting event can really touch the mania of the Super Bowl. That's a very special thing.
Sure.
But we can talk about what can be the analogous event to the gaming Super Bowl, where everybody gathers around a television set and watches it as, a family or a group.
Well, and I think that esports has a unique challenge versus the traditional sports, because we have compartmentalized interests based on different games. Different tournaments are going to appeal to different segments of audience. And I think that is going to be a learning curve that TBS and ESPN and all of these other TV networks that end up picking up esports, they're going to end up having to adapt to and try to predict, because the trend of what people want to watch other people play is it's variable. If you look at the top streamed games on Twitch, it always changes. It never stays static, except for maybe 3 or 4 titles. But that, I mean, if you look at it in the macro sense, that never stays. Those titles will eventually move down the list, and they will be supplanted by either newer versions of that game or newer games.
I mean, maybe though, but I mean, you think about traditional sports, because that's what we're comparing them to, is that the NFL in part became more popular simply because their TV deals were the best TV deals. They secured an entire day of the week. So, and at this point now 3 days of the week. But at first, Sunday football, nothing else. And that's the thing. So when you lock down that type of deal, secure those type of rights, I feel like you can maybe say, if Overwatch becomes the Tuesday night thing, like on Tuesday, no matter what this particular subset of our country is doing, there's a large portion of them watching Overwatch.
Yeah, that's a good point, but what about those people that Overwatch doesn't appeal to? That's part of the fundamental problem. And I guess there is a little bit of that when you say, okay, the NBA appeals to some people and NHL appeals to other people. And yes, I understand that there are personality types that line up with that. But when we talk about esports, I think that it is far more variable and complex than just we've got one sport that everyone rallies behind on Sunday night. All right. We're gonna have to leave it right there. Thanks for joining us for Checkpoint for today. More info on the show, links to articles and archives of our show. Head on over to checkpointradio.com. Stay up to date on all the latest by subscribing at Checkpoint Radio on social media. Checkpoint Radio on Facebook and Twitter. And of course, make note of when you're catching us on your local station, and come back next week for more video game news and discussion. I want to thank my crew. Kevin Graham and Rick Scott are our executive producers, and of course my co-hosts who have been doubling as producers while we get this show up and running: Robbie Landis, Norris Howard, and over at the Checkpoint News Desk, Joe Sloan. My name's Nate Bender. Never be game over.
You've been listening to Checkpoint Radio, a complete look into all things esports and gaming. Check out the latest esports and gaming news and opinions at checkpointradio.com.
There you guys go. There is the premiere of the hour-long demo.
45 minutes.
Checkpoint Radio. Yeah,
it's 45 minutes.
It's 45 minutes because it's what would take place in an hour on the radio. We just took the commercials out. That's all.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So anyway,
I liked our commercials that we got to listen to while we recorded it.
Those
are great.
It's funny because we do have commercials that we run in the studio to be able to keep us on time. And basically what I did was I took Grand Theft Auto commercials, and that's just what we listened to.
Wow, that was so good.
Yeah, and the thing is that those that check out the show on Patreon, you'll get the version that has the fake commercials in it. Just so you know.
Yeah. Man. By the way, if it looked like we were just laughing at our own jokes while listening to the show during that, Well, we were laughing at a picture that we saw that was just.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
It really is. You know what? I'm gonna put it on.
Well, now
you got to put it up. Yeah, it's great.
Well, of course. Now I have to. But I don't know how something can be this immediately funny. You know what I mean?
And for no explainable reason.
For no really discernible reason. But this just popped its way onto my news feed on Facebook, and I read it, and it's one of those things where like the longer you look at it, the more you find funny about it. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's time to chew ass.
Dick kick 'em. I don't know why. Why is Dick kick 'em? It's so honestly funny. Like, it's funny on first viewing is what's amazing
and it just gets better.
It does.
Here's what it is. We were listening to Checkpoint, and we went 35 minutes with no dick jokes. So just that dick reference was funny to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Divine intervention.
Exactly. And I think my favorite part, the one that I noticed the last, right, was the picture, like the close up picture on Dick Kickham's face. Because it looks like if you took two fingers and shoved them up your asshole, and then took those fingers and just ran them under his nose, like that's,
as you walked by him.
Yeah, that's
on his opposite shoulder. So when he looks the wrong way, then you run your fingers.
Right. Yeah, you run your fingers under his nose, and then that's the face that he's stuck with for the next several hours until he can wash his face. Really, several hours even after you wash your face. That's going to take a while to get that stank out. Okay.
I was just thinking about it as we just burst out laughing in the studio right at the time we were in a part of the show that wasn't particularly funny.
Yeah, it wasn't particularly
hilarious. A little bit, we're like, wow, we just look like assholes laughing at our own jokes.
Right. But no, we're laughing at Dick Kick'em.
Dick Chicken's even better.
Dick Chicken.
Dick Kick'em. Oh my god.
Dick Kick'em.
Time to chew ass. And I'm all out of chew.
He does look like he's chewing ass in that photo, right? Like, I just chewed a whole bunch of ass.
His chest kind of looks like an ass in the close-up. It does.
Like they're just spread eagle and their ass is just right there. Oh my god.
He's getting ready to chew that ass.
God help me.
Ew. Anyway, all right. Well, that's going to do it here for Final Encountercast today. Guys, thanks so much for joining us and for checking out the premiere of Checkpoint Radio. We are really excited to be moving forward on this. It's taken a long time. Like, it feels like it, comparative to what Final Encountercast took to get up and running, this has taken a lot of effort. Just a shit ton of effort. And I'm really happy with what has come out of this. We'll see what ends up happening. But I want to thank you guys for your feedback and for your comments. The jokes were funny too. But yeah,
people seem to enjoy it.
I think
it went over well.
It seemed like we got a good reaction. So thank you guys. If you want to send feedback, if you want to send your opinions, you can send those to finalencountercast@gmail.com, where you can send other email too if you want, like this person did. I guess we're reading an email?
Yep.
Okay.
From Evil Hippie, he says, your show made me ashamed of myself. Not because of your content, nor because of the gender discussion, but because I had to explain to my wife why I combed through your YouTube vid just to see Nate's underboob.
Yikes.
Sent with tight pants and mixed feelings. Evil Hippie.
Thanks. Thanks, Hippie. Appreciate it.
I'm glad it was with tight pants.
It's weird.
Nobody else is going to look up your underboob, let's be honest.
I don't know why you would. It's really not that. It's not that exciting.
It was tasteful underboob.
I mean, the channel didn't get banned, so it had to be tasteful.
It was very tasteful.
I thought it was tasty.
All right,
that's good.
I think we're good here. I think we can just kind of.
Can we be?
Can we just peter out?
We could just slowly,
just kind of talk less and less, and eventually just turn the channel off.
Just slowly fade out the mics.
Needs more stuttering though.
You think?
That helps, I think.
If we just slowly turn the mics off like this.
Yeah, kind of like this.
Yeah.
Can you fade out the screen too? Like.
Just kidding.
Oh,
You son of a bitch.
Oh, he got us. Oh, man.
What
got
a
all
trickster.
of you. I know.
Jokey joker.
All right, that's going to do it, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us here. It's been a whole lot of fun, and we're super excited that we're finally now able to talk about Checkpoint, and we'll be debuting it here fairly shortly. We're looking at, I think, the second week of February. And yes, to answer some of the questions, this will also be available to listen to online. We will have an archive that you can check out.
Hell yeah.
So we don't know what the release schedule for that is going to look like, or how long after because we're trying to convince stations to play it on the weekend. So it may be like the weekend after it airs that Wednesday or Thursday it might come out. So we're looking at those kinds of possibilities, just to kind of let you guys know.
It's gonna be great.
It's going to be awesome. We hope that you guys enjoy it, and we hope that you will join us for it. All right, that's going to be it here for Final Encountercast. Thank you to Kooky Persona, who was standing by to take any phone calls that we didn't get. You can join us live on this show, Final Encountercast on Skype, 810-207-1764, and tune in live at 5 every Sunday at twitch.tv/Final Encountercast. I want to thank my crew, of course, Chris and Robbie, over there on Skype, making everything sound real loud and noisy. And also,
gotta make you work for your education.
Also,
make your education work.
Also to Callie, who's been in here in the studio. I'm Nate. Have a good one. Final Encountercast is a production of FinalEncountercast.com, Limit Break Radio, and Bender Media Productions. Today's episode was produced by Nate Bender, Kooky Persona, and Callie Sloan. This show is made possible by the generous Patreon donors of the podcast Limit Break Radio. Opening music provided by Keyboard Kid. More info and music can be found at keyboardkid206.bandcamp.com. Closing music provided by Sobsy. For more info, visit sobsy.bandcamp.com. For links to articles mentioned on this show, check out our live blog at finalencountercast.com. Final Encountercast and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.